Hello, folks. We have another episode of Double Barrel Shotgun, and
Bang.
I'm Brian, and that's Yves. They're banging, giving you the bang bang, and we're gonna get right into it. So, Yves, you must be a happy man. No RG3 this week.
Let's go on with the show, man.
Actually, the reaction is quite mild. Actually, let's do this. So this week we're gonna get right into it for last week's recap. We're gonna start with the games. We're gonna get right into it. New England versus Detroit was one of our games we had last week. We both picked New England. Not surprising, New England won. Calvin was back. It didn't seem to matter.
Not a dang thing.
Pretty much New England just put two guys on him and put Revis out there to deal with Golden Tate, and that was about all she wrote. I don't know what else you saw. You saw anything different? I mean,
I think, just as you said, defensively, New England was on point. They basically said, okay, we know we ain't going to let Calvin beat you. Can't you beat us, so we're going to double him. And then basically they left Tate one-on-one, which was surprising that Stafford didn't really show up on that aspect of going to Tate, because Tate has been carrying that team.
Well, he's got a security
especially on the offensive side.
He's like Linus from the Peanuts, man. He's got a security blanket back, and it's blue too, by the way. So he's not giving up that blanket anytime soon, man. So
I hear you, but
once he saw, I was like, "Oh boy, suck my thumb," and here we go. Golden Tate was like, "It's been nice knowing you. I don't know anybody else now at this point."
True, but I think that you should probably be more surprised that was the reemergence of LeGarrette Blount.
Not really. I mean, but you know what? Like Garrett Blount was running pretty well for the Steelers, but this dude's acting like a fool all year. So
no, he's been a fool ever since college.
I mean, so to me, it's nothing to do with his performance. It's to do with his attitude. So he was not the number one dude. If he thought he was the number one dude, he was sorely mistaken from day one. If anyone sitting there going, "Who's the number one running back for the Steelers?"
Right.
Everyone knew who it was. It was more how much carries would he get, and he seemed to be getting vexed about that. But I won't get into Steeler talk too much. But
no, we're not getting into Steeler talk. The only reason why I brought it up is
there,
because the guy basically left a situation in Pittsburgh to go over there in less than a week's time to basically sign up there. And the fact about it, remember, he was a free agent with New England and just last year. So it's very Bill Belichickian.
Oh yeah, well you benched the poor kid that fell asleep. I mean, that was some hardcore stuff. Like, good lord, that dude ever gonna see the light of day again? I'm like, wow.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
That's tough.
Yeah, but it is what it is.
Wow. Anyways, well, let's move on. There was much to say about that one. A big game, 4:00 game, Arizona, Seattle. Pretty much, if we could just get the NFC West and the NFC North each week, or AFC North each week, I'll be happy. And we just burn the NFC South, and pretty much, and we could just burn that and just get rid of it. I'll be happy, because the matchups between those two divisions are fantastic. Arizona, Seattle, it was a smash mouth as we thought it would be. Arizona defense was impressive, kept them in the game. But as we both said last week, is Drew Stanton. When it's all said and done. Even though the killer play might have been the turnaround when Brown dropped the pass in the end zone.
In the end zone,
I think
right?
Pretty much that turned the game. I'm not saying they were guaranteed they were going to win. I love the Seahawks and everything, but to be quite honest with you, their chance was left on that play right there as far as I was concerned.
Well, I mean, the game was really a blowout of basically after the middle of the third, fourth quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, Arizona, man, it's a tough break.
Yeah.
It's a tough break. Excuse me, it's a tough break because Stanton, if he had got that touchdown pass there with Brown, who knows how the momentum of the game would have changed a little bit. But boy, Arizona's for real. But you start to wonder though. With Stanton there,
I know they're gonna be limping down the stretch, man. I'm telling you.
And I don't know, boy, it's gonna be, and they have a really hard schedule.
Yeah, they're gonna be limping to the finish line. So let's get the other team in this division that we have to reckon with is the 49ers. Playing at home against Washington, and wow, there's so much issues with this game. It's not even funny. San Francisco wins as ugly as I've ever seen a team win in a long time. I mean, it's not pretty. But they find a way each week. Kaepernick finds a way to make the big plays when they count. And to me, that seems to be their remedy at the moment, man. So, I mean, kudos to them. They've kept themselves in the mix, and we'll talk about the big game tomorrow. With them, and as far we'll get to that, but a little later. But it's going to be a huge game in Seattle, but they just, they give him full merit for it. As for Washington goes, oh, the problems, man.
Where do we start? Where do we start?
Well, I'll start the quarterback. Let's be honest, man. Here's my thing. I'm not sure is the egg what is it, the cart before the horse before the cart, or which one, chicken the egg syndrome, whichever way you want to say
chicken hawk and the egg.
Yeah, whatever the horse and the egg, whatever you want to say it. I don't know if he's looking that bad because in this case he's not putting in the work. To your point. Or the offensive line is so atrocious that it doesn't matter who's behind. I mean, there's plays where he's
Brian.
Dude, the last play of the game for them was just wrapped everything up in a ball.
I know.
The dude steps back to play it. He even get a chance to put the foot back there probably, and the man just rocked his world. And I'm sitting there going like, wow.
3 guys rocked his world.
Right. Ball drops is like, wow. And it's like, it's a bit of both because the offensive line is atrocious. It's atrocious. Okay? He needs to get his footwork and his timing right, but they ain't helping the situation. Because, you're running for your life in that offensive line, okay? It's horrible. I swear. If you wonder, what happened to Alfred Morris?
Hey, but wait a second. Alfred Morris played pretty good, actually.
He did play pretty good that game. But
that's big, man. You can't...
But for the last 2 years, where he's been?
He's been doing his thing, man. He's doing his thing, man.
Dude,
look,
offensive,
but
RG3, man. And the thing about it is like everyone still looks at the 100 yards, which look horrible. But when you have no time to throw, he's not even looking downfield. He's just trying to get the ball up for his own life. I think the injury so much in that dude's head is like any way I can get the ball out, I'll shovel past it if I can to get out of my hands. Hot potato. It's not pretty, man. It's not pretty.
Man.
Get your rant over so we can move on. So he's benched now for the rest of the season pretty much. Unless Colt McCoy in this case pretty much gets throttled. Even that I don't think you'll see the light of day, so we'll see.
Okay. Oh, man.
Dude, we only got so much time in the show, man.
RG3, man, look. I read an article, a very good article today from Chris Cooley, former tight end of the Redskins.
And he's RG3 man.
That's the thing, dude. These dudes, they say, look, we like Robert as a person,
right?
But guy, they basically said, look, man, they dummied down basically the game that they played in San Francisco. Yeah. The offense was dummied down, completely dummied down to the point that they said in the article that I read today from Chris Cooley, that a high school kid could have ran that offense. Can you imagine?
See, here's my thing, man. This is the reason why I think this is more psychological than it is physical skill. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, part of it might be coaching, but I'll take the coaching off the hook to some extent. Because it's like, obviously something's not clicking there, so you got to put something on the coach. Because something's not clicking. You're a coach. You got to find a way to improve guys. If you're not doing that...
I hear you,
but this is the psychological part I'm saying here.
Oh, okay.
That injury, I think, has messed this dude up more than anyone even knows. And I think in this case here...
He a shrink.
Yeah. I think in this case here, that's the reason why I say it's a hot potato. He has no interest in throwing that ball downfield. He just wants to get out of his hand by hook or crook. If you look at his field goal, his completion percentage,
the percentage
it's fantastic.
But that's all nice and good when you're only doing only 5 yards. When you're only throwing 5 yards on the field.
And I think that's not helping his cause. So he's like, I don't want to get hurt. He's barely running.
Yeah.
And I think all this plays into the same mindset. Is like, and never mind, I said before, going back to coaching. I mean, there's an article today talking about the percentage of how much read option plays they put in. It's almost down to nothing.
Which is nothing this year.
So this was my point last week. How much is the coaching helping you out to play to someone's strengths? So all that throws into it, it's messing things up all the way around. So they're not even throwing a life preserver out the kid.
Well, it's true. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, I totally agree that he ain't getting no life preserver. But I think that this has basically been an accumulation of stuff that's been happening for a long time. And it does suck because, in a kind of way, the kids, and again, I'm probably not going to go so hard on him like I did last week. However, it is bad just to see this happen to a top draft pick.
I'm putting it out here, man. I'm smelling conspiracy.
Come on, man.
I'm smelling conspiracy.
God, this is starting to...
I'm saying the coach had this in mind from day one. Here's my theory.
Go ahead.
If you remember in the preseason and the early part of the thing, he was there talking up Kirk Cousins big. You remember that? We even had a show talking about it. He was loving up the Kirk Cousins bandwagon. And already messing with the boy's head. stripping out all the read-option plays, knowing good well that he could do, that is where his strength is.
Okay.
In my mind, he was pretty much saying, you know what? I'm going to put you to sink or swim. I'm going to make sure I'm going to not make you look as good as possible in this case so I can get my quarterback.
I don't know about Ryan. Okay.
But here's where the backfired on him in this case. He thought Kirk Cousins would be his savior.
Right.
When that didn't work out so well, I was like, oh, damn. Now I'm screwed now. Because Kirk Cousins didn't work out the way I thought. So now he's got to play him now. So now in this case here, he puts him back out there, and he got a little reprieve because Colt McCoy played the game of his life against Dallas. It's like, well, now I got an option at least now.
Right.
I think he had no interest in RG3 from day one.
I think so. I think that's been
in
apparent.
this case, he was finding any way to screw RG3 as quickly as possible and move on to Kirk Cousins. That's my theory. I'm putting it out there.
Okay.
That's all I got to say about it.
All right. Well, I don't know about the whole, guy.
Yeah,
There's
how the dominoes falling ain't that far off.
Well, I hear you, but you know what? There's still only 30 some odd jobs of an NFL head coach. I don't think you're going to be that crazy. You're probably just trying to happy just to get a job. Now, the thing about it is that I think that
he was the boy wonder.
Huh?
He's the boy wonder coming in, you remember?
I hear you, but I just look at it right now, man. I think the coach basically, I think he basically let the owner know, like, look, I can coach this guy up to a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I can coach him up to a point, but again, if it don't work out, you got to do it. Now that whole Kirk Cousins thing, yeah, man. Kirk Cousins, now you know why he was a third-round pick.
Exactly. Well,
now why he was a third-round pick.
We spent way more time about watching the last 2 weeks than any foreign.
And why I have no idea, but I just find it just great.
RG3 is a fascinating character that you could talk. I mean, there's layers upon layers to talk about the whole entire team and franchise, but but let's move on and let's get into the games of this week.
Okay.
Okay, the big three for this week: 2 Thanksgiving Day games and 1 Sunday night game, I believe. We have Eagles, Cow. All these are divisional games, actually. So, the stakes are high, man. The stakes be high, as De La Soul says. So,
that's right.
Them stakes be high. Eagles, Cowboys, in Big D.
Mm-hmm.
Who you like, man?
I'm choosing Dallas on this one.
All right, boy. Positive and affirmative about
I think Dallas is, especially that game that they played against the Giants, which, against my Giants. But I just found a lot more encouraging stuff in that game. First of all, they can run the ball. Secondly, Romo seems to be a lot better in terms of just having control of the type of style that they play, which it's an aggressive style, but however, you can run up and down on them and throw on them as well. I think that if it's going to come down to Dallas is just going to pound the rock right at Philadelphia. I think that Sanchez he's a walking turnover machine because he still throws some bad picks even in their winning streak. And I think that that's going to catch up to them. And as well, unless the Philadelphia special teams gets involved in this by getting some touchdowns or doing some stuff in terms of getting the ball placed for them, the offensive nicely, I think Dallas is going to win this game.
True. Here's my assessment of it. Don't trust Philly's D. Don't trust Sanchez.
Right.
Dallas win to me. Okay, so game number 2. We've been waiting all season long for this one. San Francisco goes in. Okay, they're going to Seattle for this one. I believe Seattle's at home. Oh boy, we have Sherman, Crabtree. Old Richard will get into a few seconds with getting warmed up this week. We'll see how this game. I don't know how to make this game. Seattle at home. I just taking Seattle. I just like the fact that they're going to grind it out. They're champs. San Francisco's going to play one heck of a game. It's going to be a nail biter. I'm going to be sweating this one out. But I really like Seattle in this game. I think it's gonna be close, but they're gonna find a way to win at home. I think they usually do with San Francisco, someone by hook or crook.
Okay, is Lynch still probably? I heard Lynch is probable for this game.
Yeah,
right?
I think he'll play.
He'll play.
I
think those injuries must be taking a toll on the dude that you're starting to see on this report like this, though.
Well, I mean, he takes a lot of shots. I'm surprised that hasn't happened sooner, man. To be quite honest with you,
because he runs upright a lot.
Yeah, and he runs through everything.
But this one, you know what? I'm going to enjoy it. I'm just going to like watching it because I think it's going to be one of those really good physical type of games and a lot of trash talking back and forth. Again, just as you said, with Seattle being at home, I think that's the advantage. If it was in San Fran, I'd probably be more lenient towards San Fran. Right. Yeah, man, I think this is going to be a tough game. I think Seattle's going to pull it out. However, I'm going to say this, though. Your offense in terms of they might score some points and might move the ball, but the sacks. Not good.
No,
Not
this
good.
game's gonna be ugly, man. I've seen this like something like a 1916 type of strange game like that. It's gonna be ugly. It's not gonna be. It's not gonna be pretty. I think we both, obviously like Seattle as the home team on this one. So let's move into the final game, which is the Chiefs Broncos. What do you think of this one, man? This is an Arrowhead.
I This is an Arrowhead. I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a close game, but I think Denver's going to pull it out. Yeah, they just haven't been looking good for the last couple of weeks, though, the last 3 weeks or so. But Kansas City will give them a game. But I think that loss to the Raiders, bad loss, man, bad loss.
Yeah, that
especially
might
with the chance
that might cost in the playoffs.
Say again?
That might cost in the playoffs.
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. So the fact about it, I just think that Denver is probably going to be a little bit more desperate in this game, and I think this is a good knockout. This is going to be a real tough game, but I think that, I think Peyton and the boys will do their thing.
I'm going the opposite, man. I like the Chiefs at home, man. True, they lost to Oakland. I think that is going to give them even more reason and incentive to play this game stronger. I think Denver's been exposed quite a bit in the last couple of weeks. And I think the Chiefs do have the type of defense that will expose, it will work on that on those weaknesses of Denver. And I gotta check the weather report just in case, because you never know what Peyton is. A good blustery wind, a little snow, possibility.
Let it snow.
It's a night game, so you never know. I'm taking KC, man. They rolled up points on Denver last year. They had a great game. I remember Arrowhead last year. It was crazy. I think they're supposed to score at 40 points apiece. Probably one of the best games all season. But I like Kansas City. So I think we differ on Kansas City, Denver. We both like the home teams the other two games on Thanksgiving Day, man. So we'll see. We'll see if one of us is, maybe one of us is 2-1, one of us is 3-0, maybe, we'll see how it all plays out, man. But it's gonna be, I think, some of the best games I've seen all season this weekend, and probably the best Thanksgiving Day lineup I think we've seen
in a long time.
In a long time, man. So Richard Sherman is this week's topic of the week, and actually, I think we might have been talking about RG3 again this week if this didn't pop up on the radar in the last day or so. So Richard Sherman had a press conference, like every week they have their midweek press conferences, and he decided to make a little, I guess he made his own statement on. Well, Richard Sherman had three major points he came out about with this. As I said before, the Marshawn Lynch issue he had about forcing guys to speak that aren't really interested in speaking. The media gets nothing out of them, but yet you're still fining them $100,000 for it, and probably escalating if you continue to do it. Second thing he had issue was with sponsorships in this case when it came to the Bose headphones. Obviously, he's a Beats by Dre guy, as many of the guys in the league are. I think he feels is encroaching on what the players have as value in this case, or what they have for their personal things that get them comfortable for the game. Honestly, on the side, I know Ravi and I have this discussion all the time from an NBA standpoint. I think there is a bit of a line. I understand sponsorships, but what's next in this game? If a guy has a coffee now and you decide now you're going to suspend guys that they're drinking like Starbucks instead of, well, I don't know, Dunkin' Donuts or whatever the case may be, if that's what they like to drink, you can put tape across the cup when they're walking in. I understand if it's equipment, if it's like track suits or whatever, shoes, gloves, whatever. I get those things. But when a guy's wearing his headphones and that's the headphones he likes, now you're now mandating he can't wear those headphones when he comes in now. It's like how. I think that it was problematic the moment they went down this path. But that's my thoughts on it. I know some people are going to disagree about that, but so be it. The third point he had was pretty much the hypocrisy of the NFL, talking about how guys can't have sponsorship deals when it comes to any sort of alcohol beverages. But yet these guys have no problem taking money, with the other hand in this case here, for getting money from beer companies, beer sponsors left, right, and center. We know when Super Bowl comes, who is the biggest sponsors in this case, or commercials in this case? Budweiser and all the boys.
That's right.
That one, I think he's dead on that one too, man. And pretty much, he used that as a platform. Be curious to see if the NFL is going to fine him now, because that would be looking pretty hypocritical now. It's like you're finding guys that don't speak, and then when guys do speak, if you don't like what they're saying, you're going to find them too? I'll be curious to see if they're going to come down hard on Sherman, but I don't know what your thoughts about it is.
Well, in terms of Sherman is a very eloquent, very thoughtful guy, even though, he might talk a lot on the field and a whole bunch of nonsense, but that's a game he's playing. Yeah. But the points that he made out there, I have no problem with it.
Well, Mama didn't raise no fool. I think Sherman knows that too, so he's going to go out there and say his piece.
Yeah,
and as
man.
you said before, he's a smart guy, but he's also very clever and ways to kind of get his point across.
That's right. So nothing wrong with. I have nothing wrong with it because the NFL, it's been an issue for a long time about a lot of things that they do. The sponsorship issues.
Well, the beer is getting ridiculous, right? We went to the Bills game. We're not really beer drinkers, but just witnessing the nonsense.
Yeah,
if you're cutting off taps right at the end of the halftime, what's the sense of giving the beer in the first place?
How about that?
Why are we wasting time then?
Right.
Because let's face it, if you're going for a beer, you're going to get one before the game. If you're fortunate enough, you might slip out at the end of the first quarter, get another one. By the time you get back, it might be the end of the second quarter. Right. So what's the sense of you even bothering drinking any more beer in this case? At least with the NBA and some of the other leagues, NBA things after the third quarter maybe or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think baseball's after the seventh inning. So you get a good set of the game before halftime. What's the sense at that point? But anyways, man, I thought it was an interesting thing, to take, to discuss a little bit, and just to kind of get away from the other stuff. I think it's some interesting points Sherman brought across on there that I think that the next collective bargaining agreement might, I wouldn't be surprised some of these things start coming up in the next CBA.
Let's see if the NFLPA will actually take it up, though.
True.
That's the problem.
Good point.
That's the issue.
Anyhow, good point. So let's move on to the next topic. Mm-hmm. Fantasy Insider time. Charlotte, man, who you have for this week, man?
Okay, for the first game I currently have is I have Mr. Andrew Luck against the Washington Redskins. Enough said.
Exactly.
Enough said.
Yeah, and on a side note, Luck feeds on these poor bad teams.
Yeah, man. So
he's just Hunger's guy. He's like Galactus on my shirt guy.
Enough said.
Yeah.
The other surprise one I got going on, it's at the Oakland Raiders against the St. Louis Rams. I'm actually going to choose Trey Mason of St. Louis Rams to run up for about 130 yards and 2 TDs against the Raiders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the Raiders.
So we'll go with that. And my last game, Ryan Tannehill. They're going to be playing Monday night against the New York Jets, the pathetic New York Jets. Right now, which seems to be a mess beyond a mess, too. My goodness.
I'll be honest with you, this game looks dangerous to me.
You think so?
Oh, I do. I got a sneaking suspicion. This reminds me how they were, how I was talking about before the Steelers game. This game looks dangerous to me. I know how Miami can give away games.
Right.
This game, and then you throw the divisional rival thing. I appreciate your point on logic. I agree with Tannehill. But just on a side note, folks, proceed with caution, as they say, proceed with caution.
It's true. No, I hear you. But the thing about it, I think that it's getting really bad there in New York, man. It's getting really bad in New York. I just think Tannehill's on the upswing. I think that, from a fantasy point of view, I think he's on upswing, especially for those that are now in the playoffs. If you're thinking about picking up a quarterback that you know that you're probably going to need for the next 3 weeks that have something to play for, I think Tannehill might be your boy.
All right.
I think against the Jets, I think this is the nice start.
Okay, 2 quick questions. Give me a one-word answer in this one, yes or no. A, is this Rex Ryan's last game as the Jets coach?
Last year?
Last game.
Last game. I think they should just do the dude right and just cut him. Let's let him go.
Okay, so Ryan gone.
Yeah.
Number 2 is next year in September when we start the game 1 of the Jets. Is RG3 the starting quarterback for the New York Jets? Just saying.
That's interesting.
He fits all the criteria of what the Jets will usually do.
I hear you, but
just saying.
I don't. Wow.
Just saying.
I don't.
They're not draft picks. Just saying.
Wow. That's an interesting one. I didn't think of the Jets. I did not think of the Jets because they have they don't have a quarterback right now either. So, wow. I never thought of that.
All right. Well, you ponder that for the next week. I'll be curious what your thoughts are. Maybe we get into it next week. All right, man. Once again, Yves, where can the good folks find you?
Find me at Y Charlem.
All right. You can find me at Beyond Locker Room, short for RM. You got anything else?
Nah, man. I'm good. Good people.
All right.
For all our American brethren. Happy
turkey.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, happy turkey.
Enjoy that turkey, man.
Yeah, man.
We'll talk to you guys next week, man. Peace.
All right.